You see fasad all over the world today, and you go to the Quran for the explanation of that fasad. The first answer that comes from the Quran is Gog and Magog. I wrote a book on Gog and Magog in the modern world 10 years ago. I don't know how many other scholars of Islam have written books on Gog and Magog at this time. But the world of Islamic scholarship has ignored the book and will continue to ignore the book, and I cannot understand. So I also have to join the ranks of those who have broken hearts. Allah says in the Quran about Gog and Magog, Inna Yakjuj wa Makjuj mufsiduna fil ard. That Gog and Magog will perpetrate fasad on earth. The angels did not know that, but Allah knew it. Gog and Magog have to be human beings. Why? You've got to be able to analyze the text. It's not all there in black and white. You've got to think. And Allah sent the Quran لِقَوْمِ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ to a people who think. And if you think, then you say, but wait a minute. Fasad is a sinful activity. The only people who can commit sin are not angels. Can angels commit sin? No. Only a human being can commit sin, or a jinn. So Gog and Magog have to be either jinn or human beings. There is no fourth category. Where have you studied? What's wrong with your capacity to think? Gog and Magog have to be either human beings or jinn. They cannot be jinn. Why? Because when Zulkarnain built the barrier, it was built of iron and steel. And they could not penetrate it, and they could not pass over it. But a jinn can fly through it. So they have to be human beings, full stop. But these are human beings who have been endowed with power. They have such power that even Zulkarnain cannot crush them. And when we go to Sahih Muslim, Hadith al-Qudsi, I have created creatures of mind so powerful, none but I can destroy them. And then the Quran speaks about Gog and Magog for a second time. In Surah Al-Anbiya, the first one was Surah Al-Kahf, and my lecture tomorrow night in Masjid al-Jannah in Slough is on the young men and the cave in Surah Al-Kahf. So I'm inviting you to come tomorrow night. I don't know if we'll have biryani, but you're invited to come. And then on Saturday, I'm going to take Surah Al-Kahf, the whole surah, to explain the whole surah in the light of Islamic eschatology. And that will be in Croydon, the farm in Croydon, from 9:30 in the morning, all day. So now, the first reference to Gog and Magog and fasad in the world is there in Surah Al-Kahf. But there's only one more in the Quran. So you can't miss it. It is in Surah Al-Anbiya. And Allah speaks about a town. I have to slow down now so we can sink in. And He destroyed the town. And He expelled the people of the town. And He placed a ban on them that they could never return to reclaim that town as their own. Until Gog and Magog are released. And when they are released with their indestructible power, they spread out all over the world. So this is going to be a unique phenomenon in the history of the world. It never happened before. You got to be blind not to see it when it happens. One people with a power that the rest of the world will not be able to resist. One people will suddenly appear on the stage of history, and with that indestructible power they will spread out all over the world, and they will crush everything that stands in their way, including Tipu Sultan. And they'll take control of power in the world, in the world order of Gog and Magog. This is going to be a unique event in human history. If you can't see it when it happens, you're blind, or you're eating biryani and going home to sleep. What can I do if you refuse to think? Which town is it that these people are going to bring them back to the town from which they had been expelled by divine order? The Quran explains itself. Elsewhere in the Quran, Allah speaks about the town. وَحَرَامٌ عَلَى قَرْيَةٍ أَهْلَكْنَاهَا أَنَّهُمْ لَا يَرْجِعُونَ حَتَّى إِذَا فُتِحَتْ يَأْجُوجُ وَمَأْجُوجُ وَهُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ حَدَبٍ يَنْسِلُونَ. Qarya is a town. And elsewhere in the Quran, Allah speaks of the Qarya, and the commentators of the Quran have no problem in recognizing it as Jerusalem. Someone is passing by a town which is lying in ruins. He says, how can this ever be raised again? Allah caused him to die for 100 years. Huh? It's there in the Quran. So we say that the town is Jerusalem. We said it 18 years ago in our book entitled Jerusalem in the Quran. But the world of Islamic scholarship has chosen to ignore it. And so I have to join the ranks of the broken-hearted. Jerusalem is the town. And the Israelite people, I can't say the Jews. No. You've got to be careful with your language. Prior to the advent of Nabi Isa alayhi salam, there were one people. They were called Banu Israel, the Israelite people. But after Nabi Isa alayhi salam, they were divided into two. One part which accepted him and wept at the time of the crucifixion, and the other part which celebrated when they saw him die. Of course, they didn't know, and nobody knew until the Quran came what happened. This part which celebrated, Inna qatalna al-Masiha Isa ibn Maryam Rasulallah, these are called the Jews who rejected him, Al-Yahud. But those who accepted him and who wept, the Quran refers to them as Nasara. Then Allah stops using the term Banu Israel now. And for these two groups, He uses a new term. What is it? Ahlul Kitab. When they were expelled from the town, it was not just the Jews. It was the Nasara as well, the Christians. Both were expelled. But when Gog and Magog comes, He will bring the Jews back to the Holy Land. They will bring the Jews back to the Holy Land. 2,000 years after they were expelled. So now we can clearly see that Gog and Magog are located in the west.